Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to Cosmic Path Tarot. If you've had one specific person on your mind lately, someone you can't stop thinking about, this reading might be for you. Today, we're looking at what that person may actually be feeling towards you and what could be coming next for this connection. I pulled out these three piles with three cards each, and the first pile has the jasper stone, the second pile has our pyrite, and the third pile has the rose quartz. Now, before we dive deeper into each of these piles, I want you to take a deep breath and notice which pile you feel pulled towards the most. You don't need a reason, just notice where your eyes go first. Sometimes the pile that makes you a little nervous is exactly the one that's meant for you. If more than one pile calls to you, you're welcome to come back and hear all three. Some of you may be here for more than one person. Once you know which pile is yours, let's go ahead and get into the reading. Hi Pile A, welcome to your reading. If this pile found you, I want you to take a slow breath before we even begin. Because I feel like this one is going to ask you to really sit with it. Let's start with your first card, the High Priestess. She sits between two pillars, calm, composed, holding knowledge that isn't meant to be rushed or explained too quickly. This card is about inner knowing, the card of awareness that doesn't come from anything anyone said out loud and doesn't really need outside proof to feel true. I feel like when it comes to this person, some part of you already sensed there was something meaningful here. Maybe even before either of you said much at all. There's a stillness to this card, almost like it's confirmed that your intuition about this connection hasn't been very wrong, even if you've second guessed yourself before it more than once. Sometimes we talk ourselves out of what we already feel because it seems too soon or too much or not logical enough to trust. The High Priestess is telling you gently that what you sensed underneath all that noise was actually real. She is not loud about it. She doesn't need to convince you. She simply holds the truth quietly and wait for you to remember it on your own. Now your second card here is the Three of Wands. And this one shifts the energy forward. A figure stands looking out towards the horizon. Ships in the distance, already picturing what's coming rather than staying only in what already happened. This card is about vision, expansion, and a future that hasn't unfolded yet, but somehow still feels real enough to reach for. I also feel like this person may be picturing where this connection could go, not just what it looks like today, but what it could become over time. There's also a sense of looking forward together rather than treating this as something temporary or uncertain. If you felt like this person seems to be thinking ahead, mentioning things down the road, or picturing you in future plans, even in small ways, this card is confirming that instinct. It's not about grand promises right now. It's more about a quiet orientation towards the future. A sense that this isn't being treated as something short term in their mind. Now, let's look at the universe message for you. Okay, we have totality, and I think this is where everything comes together for you. The image here is intense. Someone fully suspended midair, completely trusting the movement, giving everything to what they are doing without holding anything back. This card isn't soft or romantic in a traditional sense, I'll say. It's much more about full presence, full commitment, showing up with your whole self rather than staying halfway in to protect yourself. And when I place this card right after the High Priestess and the Three of Wands, the story becomes really clear. They already sense something real here on some intuitive level. and they can already picture a future that includes you in it. And now, this card suggests that they may be choosing consciously to give this their whole heart rather than staying cautious or keeping one foot out the door. This also doesn't necessarily mean grand declarations or dramatic gestures happening tomorrow. It also feels more like an internal decision, like something shifting quietly inside them. The sense of, I'm not holding part of myself back from this anymore. That's the kind of feeling I can sense from this. Now, pile A, if you've been wondering whether this person is truly invested or only halfway present, unsure or protecting themselves, the energy here suggests that they may be moving past that hesitation now. I feel like there's a version of this where they've already been weighing it internally, going back and forth. And totality is showing us that moment where that internal tug of war settles into a real decision for you. The message from your three cards together, what I feel like is this: they knew something was here before they could explain it. They can already see a future worth building now, and they may be choosing to be fully present for it with you without pretending otherwise anymore. And if nothing outward has changed yet, that's okay. This kind of shift often happens internally first before it ever shows up in words or real actions. Give it a little time, the energy here feels like it's already moving in your favor. Hi, Pile B. Welcome to your reading. If you were drawn to this pile, let's take our time with it because there's a lot happening underneath the surface here. Your first card is the Ten of Wands, and this one carries a heavy, weighted energy. The image shows someone carrying far more than they can comfortably hold, bent forward underneath the weight of it. Still moving, but slowly. This card shows us burden, responsibility, and the kind of exhaustion that comes from carrying too much for too long. I feel like when it comes to this person, they may have been already dealing with stress, pressure, or complications that have made it hard for them to show up the way they might actually want to. This doesn't necessarily mean that it has anything to do with you directly. It might be work, family, old commitments, or just life piling up in ways that leave very little room to breathe. If this person has felt distant, slow to respond, or harder to reach lately, this card is gently reminding you that it may not be about a lack of interest. Sometimes people go quiet not because they've stopped caring, but because they simply don't have much left to give in the moment. Now, your second card here is the King of Wands, and this shifts the tone in a very important way. This card is of confidence, vision, and a strong sense of direction. Someone who knows what they want, even when circumstances are difficult. Now, I feel like despite whatever this person has been carrying, their interest in you, their pull towards this connection hasn't actually quite gone anywhere. And the King of Wands doesn't lose sight of what he wants just because the roads gets harder. If anything, this card suggests a kind of quiet determination underneath the tiredness. So even if their energy has felt low, distracted, or stretched thin, I feel like there's still a clear, steady drive, desire in them that hasn't dimmed, even if it hasn't been easy for them to express it lately. Now, let's move to your universe message and see what that has in store for you. Now, your message card is called Adventure, and this is where the story really opens up. The image shows someone stepping forward into the unknown, curious, open, but and is willing to explore without needing every answer first. The card is about new beginnings, curiosity, and a willingness to take a chance rather than staying stuck in old patterns or in old uncertainty. When I place this after the Ten of Wands and the Knight of Wands, the sequence tells a really coherent story. They've been carrying a lot, and despite that, what they want hasn't changed. Now, something in them may be shifting towards openness again, a willingness to explore where all this could go rather than staying closed off because things have been heavy for them. I don't feel this card is promising an instant dramatic change. It feels more like a movement, a step outside of stress and into possibility, even if it's a small step at first. Now, if you felt like this connection has been stuck or like this person has pulled back without much explanation, the energy here suggests that that's beginning to shift. Pile B, this may not be the pile of someone who already knows exactly what they want and is moving in a straight line forward towards it. It feels more like someone who has been through a heavy season, who still wants what they wanted before, and who may be starting to look up again, curious about what's next rather than staying buried under everything that's been weighing on them. If you've been the one waiting patiently, wondering if their distance meant something had changed, I feel like these cards suggest it hasn't. It simply means they've been surviving a hard stretch and now slowly they may be ready to explore this connection with a little more openness than before. Give this some room to unfold naturally, and the energy suggests the movement is coming, even if it doesn't happen all at once. Hi, Pile C, welcome to your reading. If this pile is the one that you pulled in, let's slow down and really look at what it's showing us. Your first card is the Eight of Pentacles, and this one is quiet, steady, and full of effort. The image shows us someone focused, carefully working on something piece by piece, not rushing it, and not distracted, simply committed to doing it properly. This card is about dedication, skill building, and showing up consistently even when no one is watching or applauding the effort. I feel like when it comes to this person, they may already be putting real thought and energy into this connection, even if it hasn't been loud or obvious lately. This isn't the energy of someone treating things casually. It's closer to someone quietly investing the way you would invest in something you actually intend to keep. And your second card here is the Knight of Swords. This brings in movement. The image shows someone riding forward quickly, sword raised, direct, driven, and not waiting around for permission to act. This card is about momentum, communication, and a desire to push things forward rather than let them sit still. I feel like this person may be someone who wants to move things along, who feels a pull to say something or reach out or take a step forward rather than continuing to circle the same spot. If you've noticed this person being more direct lately, more willing to initiate, or seeming a little restless about where things stand, this card is confirming that energy. There can be an intensity to the Knight of Swords. So I feel like there may be moments where this person's eagerness comes out a little fast or a little blunt, not because they mean to overwhelm you, but because they're not naturally built for waiting quietly. Now let's see what the universe message has for you. Okay, your message is ordinariness, and I think this is genuinely one of the most beautiful cards to see in a reading like this. The image is simple: someone walking quietly through nature, carrying a small light surrounded by ordinary flowers and everyday beauty. Nothing dramatic happening at all. The message from your three cards. Now, they're already investing quietly and they want to move things forward with intention. And what they're really hoping to build with you is something steady enough to last, not just something exciting enough to feel good for a while. Let this one settle in gently. Sometimes the readings that feel the calmest end up meaning the most. Whichever pile found you today, pile A, pile B, or pile C, I hope something in there landed exactly where you needed it to. These readings are gentle guidance, not certainty, so take what resonates with you and let go of anything that doesn't feel true for your situation. Whatever this person is feeling, I hope you also remember to hold space for your own heart in all of this, not just theirs. If this reading felt like it was speaking to you, let me know in the comments which pile you choose. I do read through all of them. If you're new here, welcome. This is Cosmic Path Tarot, and I'll be back soon with another reading. Take care of your heart, and I'll see you in next time.